It was the first week of May 2025. The monsoon clouds are yet to visit the subcontinent, and the night sky is empty, clear, with the stars shining with all their glory. High up above the town of Bhavalpur, a little town in a Punjab province of Pakistan, was squadron leader Riaz Ahmed, who is flying his J-10 fighter aircraft. The name and the rank is completely fictitious. It's been 2 weeks since the dastardly act of the terrorist strike in Pahalgam on 22nd of April 2025, and it's been about 6 days since the Prime Minister of Pakistan declared to the world that an Indian attack is imminent, and therefore the patrol that Squadron Leader Riaz Ahmed was doing was not a normal reconnaissance patrol but a combat air patrol, which means all its guns, cannons and missiles are primed and ready to fire. But however, Squadron Leader Riaz was so confident and he was flying in the clear skies when suddenly his radio crackled. The controller of fighter aircrafts was on the line and he said, there is an Indian bird, which means an Indian aircraft, at 12 o'clock, which is straight opposite to him, at about 250 kilometers. Squadron Riaz immediately primed his radar and he could spot an Indian Rafale on his radar screen. Locking on to that Rafale, he fired his PL-15 missile. What happened then would be left for conjecture. I will not be able to know what happened, but this is what the senior most officer of the Indian military, the Chief of Defence Staff, said.
But
Why? Why they were. So the good part is that we are able to understand the tactical mistake which we made.
As you saw, that the CDS said that we made some tactical mistakes and we corrected them. But did we make a mistake? Or was it a play of words? Hello friends, this is Captain Muthukrishnan and welcome to Captain's Comments, where we analyze the headlines with heart, history and hard facts. The air warfare between India and Pakistan for about 82 hours between the midnight of 6th and 7th to about 10th was one of the most intense and sophisticated air battles in the recent history. Why? Because it was fought with all the assets that's available to the air forces of two nuclear weapon countries. Missiles, drones, UAVs, and of course the legendary fighters of both countries were locked to each other, trying to ascertain their supremacy. But let's see what happened. On the night of 6th and 7th, India was reportedly, and I would say reportedly because nobody has confirmed or denied that fact, lost a few aircrafts. And then the CDS said that we made certain tactical mistakes. I'm going to put an argument that while we did lose probably a few aircrafts, it was not because of tactical mistakes. The right word should have been tactical limitations. And let's look at why. In a classical air battle, the first thing which should be done is to make the sky as safe as possible for the aircrafts. Remember, in the earlier episodes of Captain's Comment, episode 2, for which the link I am going to give in the comments, we said how it is not one aircraft versus another aircraft, it is how one battle system versus the other battle system. And therefore, the first step towards any air battle is to A, destroy, or if that's not possible, deceive. If that is also not possible, deflect the enemy's capabilities. The enemies have their eyes and their claws in the air. The eyes are the radars and the claws are the missiles. But without the eyes, the claws loses its power. And therefore, the first objective is to blind them, to take away their radar system. India has their radar systems, the famed S-400, two of them already deployed in the western borders. And the Pakistan have the HQ-9, which is basically a Chinese reverse engineered system of S-300. Typically, the warcraft would have dictated that we should have destroyed the HQ-9s, which is the anti-aircraft or the air defense system of Pakistan. But what would it result in? HQ-9 is a military target, and destroying that would be a declaration of war, because we are going to destroy a military target. And that would have led to an escalation which is beyond the control of the two nations of the subcontinent. And therefore, India did a very sensible thing. They said that we are open to losing a few aircrafts if the enemy could detect and destroy us, but we are not going to give a chance for the Pakistan to escalate. Remember, none of the aircrafts crossed the either the line of control or the international boundary, unlike the Balakot strikes where we crossed the line of control. Here we did not cross. So what happened? On the night of 6th and 7th, when these aircrafts, and remember even the Pakistan DGISPR said that all these missiles were not ground launched, it were all fired from aircrafts. When Indian aircrafts, which is Rafales and Mirage and Su-30s, were firing their missiles, they were like sitting ducks, because the HQ-9 would have identified them. It would have guided their J-10s to use their PL-15 missiles, which has basically 150 to 200 kilometers range to go and probably or possibly attack a Rafale or a Mirage 2000. Now, there is one tactical mistake we could have committed, we might have committed, which the CDS, the Chief of Defence Staff, did not elaborate, but what it could be is that we assumed that Pakistan had the export variant of PL-15 missile with a range of about 150 kilometers, whereas Chinese had actually given their domestic PL-15 variant, which has a range of over 250 to 300 kilometers. That could be the mistake that we could have done. But not attacking the air defense capabilities was a very sensible thing. We did lose, but that loss was a calculated risk. But what people do not see is where is the fabled Pakistan Air Force on 8th and 9th and 10th. Of course, they did fight on the 7th, but after that, they just disappeared, right? That is the tactical maneuvering that Indian Air Force did. On the 8th and 9th, Because Pakistan escalated by firing, by attacking the Indian military assets, we said we will retaliate in kind and disproportionately. We started attacking their air defense system. And this is where we have the CID, that is the suppression of enemy air defense, and DID, destruction of enemy air defense comes in. I'm going to explain to you what is the difference between a suppression and a destruction. On 8th and 9th, India sent their UAVs called Harups and Harpies, which are precision drones which seeks out and destroy enemy air defenses. And how do they do it? Every air defense radar sends out radiations. These are the signatures of those radars. That's how enemy can identify where the radars are. Harpy, Israeli, both of them are of course Israelis. It is programmed to go, this is called the loitering munition. So once they are launched, they go to a designated area and they keep hovering, loitering in that area for a pre-designated time, probably about 2 to 3 hours. And in those 2 to 3 hours, they keep looking for those signature radiations from the radars. And the moment they get that, they home onto it and they destroy these radars. Initially, when this Harups and Harpies, Harups by the way has a longer range and it can be controlled remotely, whereas Harpies are completely autonomous. When these were sent, the Pakistan air defense experts thought these are just any other drones there to seek the gaps in the air defense. But they didn't know that these are Harpies, which are specialists in seeking and destroying these radars. Well, India claimed to have destroyed their HQ-9s in various places, but one place where we have a proper visual documentation is near Lahore, where we destroyed the HQ-9 and those bursts of flames were for everyone to see. There were locals who took videos of that and they put it in the internet, which everybody could see. So therefore, now that Pakistan knew that these are anti-air defense system missiles, what would they do? They don't want to risk their multi-million dollar, about $100 million for HQ-9 at risk. So they shut them off. So destruction is what we did first, and to prevent further destruction, they shut all their anti-air defense system, all the HQ-9s. And then on the 9th, Indian aircrafts had a virtually safe sky where they could go and fire at will. And how did they do it? We have claimed to have destroyed 21 airbases. At least 11 of them have a visual proof. You could see it from internet, from independent satellite organizations where the runway marks were clearly visible. And how accurate are we? In one of the airfields, we hit exactly the junction of two airstrips, which means both the airstrips are now defunct and not usable. Therefore, friends, today's session was to analyze if we really did a tactical mistake or not. Hindsight, they say everybody is wise. And hindsight, if you look at it, we did not do a mistake. We did the sensible thing by not targeting the military infrastructure on day one. And therefore, we could control the narrative. Could the CDS, could he have used a better word? Could he have used anything could have happened? Remember, CDS is a soldier and not an editor. An editor sitting in his air-conditioned room would have all the time in this world to use the right words, whereas CDS, being a soldier, uses the words that comes first to his heart. And therefore, India's tactical mistake, within quotes, was actually a tactical advantage. Thank you very much for being with me in this episode of Captain's Comment. I look forward meeting you in the next episode. Thank you very much. Jai Hind.